Let's do the rest of the Goodwood ITV action in chronological order. The 150 is the Stewards Sprint, which is the consolation race, and which I guess will have an effect on the main race, G-Rod, by giving everyone a clue on the draw, won't it? Who's going to win this?
Yeah, the problem was the two that I liked were drawn high, so I kind of put a line through them. I will mention, though, just in case it does end up being high, they were Tommy G and Manshood. But like Frank has already said, I want to be on the lower side. I certainly want to be in the far side group, and I'm going to go with Pettock side, who I tipped at the track in the column on Tuesday, and I mean it was a hugely unlucky loser. One of the typical Goodwood bad luck stories. Just got caught at the back with absolutely nowhere to go. Came on the hand and tails, absolutely flying. That was over 5. That's a 3-time winner over course and distance. The extra furlong, 6 furlongs, really will suit it. You got Hector Crouch, who's already had a big winner this week.
100-to-1 winner.
Yeah,
aye.
Claiming £3. If he can time it right on Pettock's side, he's going to need luck again, obviously, because it's that sort of horse. He loves this track and will handle any ground. I think Pettock's side can make up for an unlucky defeat the other day.
Dave, who do you fancy?
He's drawn stall 14, though. It's not that low.
No,
I was expecting to go for something between 1 and 3
he's certainly lower than the other fancied runners. A lot of the fancied runners are in high numbers.
Yeah, they are. And one I like, unfortunately, I was disgusted when I saw the draw. It was 6 strings from the Richard Fahey stable. Drawn in stall 20, which obviously could be a nightmare, but this is a sprinter to follow. I'm convinced of it. I thought it was a really, really good run in that Scottish Stewards Cup at Hamilton. If you watch that race, it was really strange because at Hamilton there's usually a golden highway up the near side. But on this occasion, it seemed to be a little bit different in that Scottish Stewards Cup, and they all panned out the whole way across the track. And Paul Hannigan was caught completely on the far side. He finished third. He was beaten 2 lengths by classic seniority, but he hasn't gone up for it, which I think is really strange. He was second to Parfait at Newmarket earlier on in the season on his first start. And that form has obviously been frank since. And you know what? I think he's the one horse in the race, when you go through the whole race, he's the one potential improver that we haven't seen the best of yet. There's some 14-to-1 out there. He should cope with the ground, and I expect him to be smacked there at the end.
You fancy 6 strings. Frank, by the way, before we get your fancy, big up to you for Quench Dolly, who's a horse that you tipped up on the Postcast about 3 months ago. And I know, looking on Twitter, plenty of people stuck her in the tracker as a consequence of that. I did as well, and it all came good, didn't it? So well done there, Frank. Who are we going to back to win the 150 at Goodwood tomorrow?
Yeah, again, I was kind of looking at the low draw ones. There was one drawn at 10. It's probably at the limit of the draw, but Rasik of Tim Easterby, he's run really well at York twice this year on ground, good to soft ground. And I suppose after Epsom, Goodwood is the second fastest track for sprinters, and York is probably the third. So it's kind of encouraging that his 2 best runs have been there on a really speedy track with Cut. Tim Easterby's in flying form. He's 13 from 62 runners in the past 2 weeks. He's 21%, which would be excellent form. If you go to the 2 runs Rasik was second in, he was second to Duke of Friends, beaten a neck. Duke of Friends got up late, and he was only beaten the last day, maybe a length. Who was ahead of him? Sorry, I don't know.
Flying Pursuit.
Flying Pursuit and Al Kaywa, is that or Al
That's it.
He's only gone up a couple of pounds for that. The draws, I think he'll get away with the draw. As I said, most of the fancy ones are drawn high. He's 14-to-1. And we're 5 places on the race as well, so I think it's a bit of an each way steal.
Okay, 225. It's the Qatar Summer Handicap. Kick us off again, Graham. Oh no, we'll have a show of betting first to whet our appetite. Go on, Frank. How do you bet on the 225?
Sharoa is 4-to-1, Mainstream 6-to-1, Platitude 7-to-1, Blakeney Point, Get Back in Paris 8-to-1, Soldier in Action, Saigon City 9-to-1, and we're 12-to-1 bar.
Go on then, G-Rod. On you go, son.
Fascinating race. A bunch of old favourites, one of them being Mainstream.
How many of these would be in your tracker?
There's not many in there, but there's loads that will have been in there at some point that have now been disappeared. Mainstream obviously being one of them, represents one of the hottest lines of the form all season when he was third behind Frontiersman and Top Tug in a handicap at Newmarket. But he has an awful problem trying to win. When he comes to win, his head seems to go up in the air now. I mean, he has got the ability to run away with this race if he wants to. If anyone can make him do it, it's going to be Ryan, and it's Stevie Donohoe struggled last time. Ryan taking over. I can't back him though. The interesting runner, and the boys might know a bit more about him than I do maybe, is Felix Mendelssohn for Joseph O'Brien, who used to be with David Simcock. He always had loads of ability, never fulfilled his potential. He come back from a long layoff for Joseph O'Brien and a massively eye-catching first run over a mile and a half, staying on really strongly, looking like he's in desperate need of a mile and 6, and he gets that here. I'm sure I remember him running well at the course at some point for Simcock in his early in his career as well. So I'm going to take a chance on Felix Mendelssohn, but there's loads in there that I like. I mean, Soldier in Action could run well, Platitude can't top.
Okay, jolly good. David, who do you like here?
Yeah, that Felix Mendelssohn was supposed to run at Killarney a couple of weeks ago, and it was taken out. It was actually, bizarrely, supposed to run in the Void race that was won by Stars Over the Sea. So it was taken out that night. I can't remember. I think it was because of ground. I think it probably needs a little bit of cut in the ground. And it's quite interesting. Graham alluded to the fact that he ran well at Goodwood. He did. He was fourth in a listed race. He wasn't beaten that far by Arad in a decent enough listed race. I think it was back 2 summers ago, I think. But is interesting, certainly is interesting. This Mainstream is an absolutely horrible yak. He is horrible. He reminds me of Aidan McGeady, who used to play for Ireland. He was a winger.
The one who looks like Phil Tufnell.
Yeah, exactly. That's him, yeah. One of these. This is the
he does still play.
He does still play. He could be still with Everton. He could be on loan to somebody.
Oh, no, he's with Preston, wasn't he? Or he went to Sunderland now from Preston.
Did he go to Sunderland? Well, I'll describe what I mean, right? As in, he looks brilliant, right? Every time he gets the ball, you think he's going to do something, and he just threatens, and you're going to go, oh my God, he's going to be like the next big thing. Like every time he played for Ireland, he threatened to deliver so often, but he never did. He never, ever did. And this Mainstream, you say Stevie Donoghue struggled with him last time. He gave Stevie Donoghue no help whatsoever. It was absolutely horrifying, the last furlong of that race. He threw his head up in the air. He's a horrible yoke. He's by far the best horse in the race. And maybe Ryan will get him home, but he's a horrible watch and he's a horrible horse, and I really hope he doesn't win. Anyway, that's Mainstream, and I've completely fallen out of love with him. There was venom in my voice there.
Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, we have the RSPCA on you.
The one I'm willing to give a chance to here, and Bruce, you'll love me for this.
I can't top.
Yeah.
It's going to be a massive day for King Rafe tomorrow. He's going to have loads of winners. We're going to come on to one at Newmarket quite soon. But go on, why will Carntop win this, DJ?
What a legend he is. Seems like a lovely guy. I think he's crying out for a step up and trip, Bruce. I really do. I don't think it ran that badly in Haydock. I tipped it up last time in Haydock at a big price as well. And the race didn't go to plan at all. Dylan Mouse won it. And just kind of was left with a bit too much to do that day by Pat Cobbs. And the race kind of got away from him. It's funny at Haydock on quick ground. I think it's an easy enough track to get. Like I think he's more of a stayer. That 1 mile 4 that day was just too much for him. The run beforehand at Epsom was far more his cup of tea when he was so unlucky behind Soldier in Action. I still think he's quite well handicapped. If you go back to his form, like he was beaten just over 3 lengths in the King Edward Stakes by across the Stars last year. He's a proper horse, and maybe he's just crying out for a trip. He gets that here, and unlike Mainstream, he bloody wants to win races.
Okay, I thought you might be flagging after a week at Galway, but Jesus Christ, you can still talk a glass eye to sleep, can't you? Bloody hell. All right. Frank, who do you like?
I think I have the winner, but
aye.
Maybe I'm wrong. Saigon City, Declan Carroll, hasn't run since Newmarket in May when it encountered soft ground over a mile 6. Second that day was Oriental Fox.
I was talking to James Pyman about Saigon City. This is the Cesarewicz winner, isn't it? It will be.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be shocked.
And the Ebor.
Yes, yeah.
This is gets soft ground, and it's got a massive chance. Like it handles fast ground, but it handles soft ground better than most. It beat Oriental Fox. Like the day in Newmarket, it looked like it was under pressure about 3 furlongs out, and it just took off in the last furlong and a half. Now we all know Oriental Fox probably wants better ground. And he went on and won the Creed Alexandra again at Royal Ascot. He's only gone up £5 for that. And if you go back and look at it, when he was Luke Commandy, he was running over a mile. He ran over 10 furlongs the odd time. But when he switched to Declan Carroll, he'd one spin on his comeback over 2 miles. And since then, he won at York, was 5th in Northumberland Plate, beaten 4 lengths, was 3rd at Ascot, beaten a length, was 2nd at Doncaster. This is the run you need to look at. Over a mile and a half, which would be too short. He was 2nd to Chemical Charge, who was 3rd in Hardwick. 3rd was Muntaha, who won the John Porter in the next start. 4th that day was Frontiersman, who threw away a Princess of Wales and the Coronation Cup. But this fella's running off 98. Now, if you can take that form literally, this is a good thing.
Yeah.
And it's 12-1 in places. I will be again trying to, or no, it's 10-1 best. We're 9-1. If I get to price this, it won't be 9-1.
Oh,
I
excellent
want to change
stuff.
my mind there, Bruce.
Yeah, that's very persuasive.
I
that.
fancy Saigon City.
Yeah, I know. But then again, DJ, very dangerous to desert King Rafe. Okay, the other race on the box at Goodwood is the 3 o'clock Qatar Gordon Stakes, a Group 3. This is easier, isn't it? Only 5 runners. How'd you bet, Frank?
Crystal Ocean is our favourite at 5-4. Khalidi's 9-4. Mount Moria 5-1. Across Dubai 15-2. And Jake's Hill is 12-1.
DJ, you can go first as long as you're very concise. Who's going to win this and why?
This will be so short and sweet, Bruce. Crystal Ocean, I think, is a good thing. I don't think the ground will be a problem. I think he's going to end up being a very, very good horse. He's rated 112. Khalidi is rated £2 higher. I think that's a false 114 that Khalidi has. I think Crystal Ocean could be a star one day, and I'm hoping the start of that process will be in the 3 o'clock at Goodwood.
Well done. Graham?
Very straightforward, yeah. Crystal Ocean. Talking about James Palmer, he ran out some stats last week for us in his column, Glorious Goodwood, and 35% strike rate for St Michael Stout in listed Group 3 races for 3-year-olds. And the big point in it was that he usually runs a Group 1 horse in the Gordon Stakes. The likes of Ulysses, obviously, who he won it with, and he probably runs another one here, Crystal Ocean.
Righty-ho, Frank, what do you think?
I think he is the best horse in the race. Michael Stout's a tremendous record. I think he's won 4 of the last 9 runnings of it. But I would just think if the ground remains tacky, I'd be willing to give this Mount Moria a go at about 5 or 6-1. He won well at Newbury on the handicap debut off 81. You says tons more needed, but he went to Ascot up £12 and he absolutely destroyed them. Like it was, you're there looking, this is a Group 2 horse probably in the making. The way he did it that day, he probably will get the soft ground he wants. And if there's one to put it up to Crystal Ocean, he's the one. And I'll be definitely having a bet on him, just in case.
Great. When Frank Hickey tips a King Rafe beast, there is no stopping me, I tell you. I spoke to Adam Waterworth, the very excellent chief at Goodwood, on Wednesday. Honestly, guys, I mean, if you know what it's like being in Ireland, heavy rain, but you have never seen anything like Goodwood on Wednesday. It was unbelievable. I've never... If you went outside, if you just tried to walk from one stand to the other, it might only be 20 yards. You might as well jumped in a swimming pool. Honestly, it was phenomenal. And he said, all for the rest of the week, you're going to get that really sort of cloying, tacky ground, that drying, heavy ground, which is actually the hardest to get through. So I think it'll take some getting there. Now then, quickly, chaps, anything else on the Goodwood card? After the 4 televised races, we're scrambling around after a difficult week to get out of trouble. Is there anything you like, Graham?
Yeah, there's a couple. 4:45 battered for William Haggis. It was really well fancied at York last time. I don't think it ran up to form. It's well regarded by the trainer. I think you'll see a lot better horse in that race at 4:45. And then the last, now mate, Joe Chewitt.
Yeah,
remember him? Yeah, Joe Chewitt.
He hasn't learned, has he, DJ? What is it? Shoot. Shoot.
Well,
Yeah, Joe Chewitt.
Joe Chewitt's favourite best horse is running in the 5:20. It's called Surrey Hope. Was very impressive when at Sandown 2 runs ago.
He's a non-runner, Graham.
Oh,
He's
he
a
doesn't
non-runner?
run. Oh,
Yeah.
well, he doesn't run then.
He's got another one in this race.
Well,
It was worth it just to hear you pronounce. What's his name again?
Joe Chewitt.
That's it. DJ, anything else at Goodwood?
Yeah, that's funny. He probably took it out because he didn't want to hear you butchering his name on the podcast, I'd say. I think I'm completely taking Graham on in the 4:45. I think Tamul is in a different league to these, and the key thing here is the ground. It won on soft ground at Newmarket on a debut last year. Best performance this year was in Newmarket on good soft ground as well. The ground is the key to Tamul. He was disappointed in the Jersey Stakes, but this is a completely different kettle of fish. He'll completely outclass these, I think.
Okay, and Frank, anything else for you?
We're willing to give a chance to Storm Ahead in the 5:20. He was only beaten 2 lengths in the Spring Mile. He's actually dropped £4 since then. Slightly disappointing the last twice, but when sent off Fav. But he gets a soft ground here. He was a very good winner at Salisbury last year in soft ground, beating Sinfonietta. I think he's only about £6 higher here. And with Tyler Saunders claiming 7, I think he can go well at probably like around 10-1.